Hi, I'm the Now Visitor, and you are watching TrekCulture.
Just before we get into this video, I want to tell you that this month's copy of SFX magazine, who are our lovely friends, let's be real, they're pretty cool, contains a really cool deep dive on the costumes for Star Trek Discovery with costume designer Anthony Tran. This is not to be missed. It's seriously like, you know me, I'm the cosplay guy. I love this kind of stuff. Check out the new issue, which is available now. It's got stuff for our Who fans as well. And also, if you're like me and you're kind of into Alien, it's a good one. Thank you so much, SFX. And also, while I have you, good news is that the podcast will be back to normal from next week. That's it. You'll have to put up with me again weekly. Now let's get into the video.
Hi, how was your trek to Vegas, Ellie?
Overwhelming is a good word to use. I think I wasn't quite expecting it to be as massive as it was. I knew it was going to be big, but that was huge, and I really wasn't expecting the amount of attention that we were going to receive. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just you'd been to Long Island, was it that you'd been to a few months ago?
Yes.
And you had told me that there was a big audience for our channel there, but I don't think I was quite prepared for how many people were going to be so lovely and come say hi. And I'm too English for this. I don't know how to respond to compliments, so it took me a while to get used to.
I hear that. Look, it was just the amount of people. I think we felt like rock stars.
I've never felt more like a celebrity in my life.
What we're going to try and do is kind of run through our memories of the con, because it was a lot. It was a lot. How was your travel, Ellie?
Long. It was long. There weren't any delays, thankfully. The flight, everything went smoothly, but it was just over 10 hours, which is a long flight. I am someone that struggles with the jet lag, so when we got there, it was kind of, I think on my body clock, it was like 6 o'clock the following morning, but by the time we'd got there, it was kind of evening. So it took a couple of days to get my head around all of the time differences and stuff. But yeah, the flight was fine. Everything went smoothly. It just was very long.
I hear that. Yeah, I remember we landed. Obviously, we spent a lot of time with our good friend Mike Overton from the Clone Star.
I flew out with Mike. We flew out together, and my mum as well.
and my partner Stefan. It was we all met for dinner, which was both like you could see that the excitement was there, tempered by the exhaustion.
Yeah.
which was a little bit. It was funny, but one thing I loved about that evening as well is that there it was. So that was the Tuesday. So the con itself didn't technically begin until the Thursday, although the vendors room was open on the Wednesday. But I mean, on the Tuesday, we were sitting there, and I looked, to my right, and there was Randy Frank, who I know is, one of the, my brain always goes showrunner as a kind of a go-to word now from who runs a thing. Oh, the showrunners. Okay, well, this isn't a TV show. Lambda Quadrant. We were chatting to a good bit. I'm like, oh yeah, my people are starting to arrive. This is cool.
Yeah, I think that's when I was shocked straight away, because we were 2 days before the con started, and on our way back towards our room, we were just kind of doing a little circle of the hotel, and people came out and knew our names, and immediately someone came over. And remember as well, this was literally a day after our interview with Kate Mulgrew, and instantly someone came up and said how much they loved our interview, and I was like, wow, this is so strange. I think the thing is, there is a disconnect between what we do in our little bubbles. I mean, we both work from home. We actually work in different countries. And although we talk to each other on Zoom all the time, we've only met in person 3 times.
That was our third time meeting in person.
Yes. Yep. But, we talk about the viewing figures in terms of kind of from a business perspective and things like that. But it's kind of just a number, really. And it's not until you're in a room where there's so many people that actually do recognize you that you kind of remember that isn't just a number. That is a very big number of people that see your face on a daily basis. And so that's when I think it's instantly started to be like, wow, okay, consulate
It's
even
very
started
humbling.
yet. It is very humbling.
Yeah.
But it's very easy for that disconnect to happen when you don't really have that connection between what we do and then you're in a place where it's all together and you're like, oh wow, okay.
It is. It's funny. Like one of my lovely memories of last week is the amount of conversations with people who are, you know, fans of the channel and who are just so lovely. Everyone's so nice. But yeah, I'd come up and they were like, people ask me like, you know, is this a bit head trippy? And I said it is, because I know that, you know, I've spoken to people who watch the videos and I've spoken to people who've reached out and are just lovely. And it's a bit of a baptism by fire because now they're all in the same room together, which is, you know, awesome. And then we also have this thing of like, there is a reality of, you know, although we're not making this in our bedroom, you know, we also kind of are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, my office at home is I've got my green screen up and, you know, I've got my office set up and everything. But also I'm like, I've said this before, I'm like a lighthouse. You know, I'm in Ireland keeping the torch lit, you know. And I know because neither of us live anywhere near the What Culture office.
No. So yeah, it's very easy to forget the actual kind of scope of how far our content spreads when you don't really, you know, you interact. Social media and stuff is great, but it's still there's still that disconnect. It's hard to put faces to names and things. But even beyond the subscribers and things, it's being able to meet the people that we have met through the channel in terms of interviews, in terms of social media, in terms of the creatives and things. Friends that we've made that because of, you know, the ocean, we haven't been able to really meet. So, I mean, in particular, Dan Hageman, Aaron Waltke, both of those absolute diamonds of gentlemen, absolutely lovely. But I mean, I had met Dan Hageman once before. Aaron I hadn't met before, but even when you are in the same room with them, it doesn't feel like, oh, this is the first time we've met, because, you know, we've spoken on the channel and over social media and all those things. But it's just so nice to be able to physically touch these people.
I mean, yes, that is a true statement. Yeah, that's very funny. Yeah, I had met Aaron before, and actually, no, I'd met Dan before, which is just lovely. But it's a very different atmosphere as well at this con because, you know, I think the atmosphere is just electric, you know, and everyone. I had no issue in the whole week of boundaries. You know, sometimes people you could expect people, you know, when there's 6,000 people in a room and, you know, kind of maybe some boundaries go out the window. I didn't experience that. I must say, everyone was lovely, everyone was respectful. I hope I was the same in return. You know, I tried to be. Now we'll get an email from Dan and Aaron going, actually,
they came and hugged me. Personal space. Get off.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
To be fair, though, I think the thing is, you know, you don't go into a situation expecting to suddenly put your arms around somebody. But none of them. I mean, we also had the chance to talk to Todd Stashwick, who we've had on the channel before. Instantly, he was up, hugs, and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. But, you know, I would never go up to him and be like, how's it going? Because he would have been like, get off.
Yes, yeah. Like, you know, you wait for the invitation, you know. Yeah. But no, it was just lovely. I mean, you know, there's so many little. I mean, this video could be 9 hours, right? There's so many little stories, all of which, and I don't want that to diminish it either. I mean, some of my favorite memories are people who just stopped me in the hallway.
I think it was on the Friday. I had my Prodigy outfit on and I was in the queue in Starbucks, and there were these two little kids dressed in little Starfleet uniforms, and they clocked me and I heard them say, she's from Prodigy, and I was like, yes. And it just, you know how, like, because obviously Prodigy is supposed to be the one that brings kids into Star Trek, and I was like, of all the things for those kids to recognize, and I was dressed as Hologram Janeway and they recognized the character, and I was like, my work here is done.
Brilliant. I mean, I love it. I know I love that. So the con itself, so the Wednesday vendors room opens. So of course, first place I go because you know I shouldn't, but I do, and I you know I like to collect obviously cosplay, but particularly con badges. Now I was going to wait it until Friday because I went and I went, oh, that one, kind of clocked it in my head. So I did that because Because also the thing is, I was trying to be good because we were not there officially. You know, we weren't there as TrekCulture. Hello from the TrekCulture channel, but we weren't there as TrekCulture. This year we went because we just wanted to go and enjoy and absorb everything as fans. But, you know, as at the flip side of that is it was self-funded. So I was trying to be aware of the fact that, like, you know, I don't want to take out a small mortgage because, yes, I did want that 1701 model. And yes, I did want the, you know, the Boar Queen's skull and spine. But what I loved genuinely was just walking around, just looking at everything. Sometimes, not always, sometimes for me, seeing is enough. You know, being in a room where you've got all the Star Trek pocketbooks.
But,
you know,
you know what I want? You know what I want? I don't think it has actually been released yet. I need that hologram Janeway, is it XO6 model. Do you know how many people, I mean, if it happened just once, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But do you know how many people have tagged me in posts saying they thought it was me? I'm like, I will take the compliment.
Yep, I saw one this morning. So yes, I can confirm she is not talking out of her asymmetric photons. That is quite funny.
It's
because
amazing.
The detail. I mean, so I was saying, because I was chatting away with the sculptor, you know, with the artist, and I was saying it's the one bug I haven't been bitten by yet, and I realized that's a challenge to the heavens, because I've been so, I think I need the ships, that I haven't been kind of bitten by the, I know they're not action figures, but also model statuettes. Whereas I know a good buddy of mine, I think, has the full set of the Voyager ones. And I mean, the detail on these are incredible.
They are incredible. I mean, I don't have lots and lots of the statues or anything, but when there are certain ones that I see and I'm like, I need that. That is one of them.
What I guess, so I do want to give a lovely shout out to guys been very good at the channel, Ben Robinson, of course, formerly of Eagle Moss, because of course, you know, heartbreaking, Eagle Moss, they weren't able to have a stand at this year's one. That's not to say they weren't represented. I think the amount of fans that had the models, you know, I'm a sucker for them. I love them, and I'm excited to see, you know, well, Master Replicas I know have a lot of Doctor Who stock coming up. And they've got more Trek stuff coming. Yes. I arrived in my hotel room to find a Moopsie waiting for me, which was and I know as well we've got, although they weren't, I don't think Fan Home were there, but later this year, I know the new wave of wallet burners, model starships are on the way. So that's exciting. But I had a lovely chat with Ben about some projects that are coming. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because he was very, very nice.
I have a question for you. Did you get all of the con badges that you'd set your heart on?
I did get all of the con badges. And because I'm a fool, I literally forgot one. Right? And I'll tell you exactly what one it is. It's the lower decks one. And it's because I have the pin. I've been trying to switch over pins to magnets because, you know, a bit easier on cosplay. Because I think I wore my lower decks uniform on like the first night. I wore it to dinner on the first night. And then I had enough cosplay with me that it then went into the wardrobe and it was fine. I had it ready. And so I just went out of my head. And because I was joking with the people from Fansets, I was saying, you know, here's why I go to these events. I did the same in Long Island. I picked up a few. And I said, because if I buy, you know, whatever it is, 5 of them now, in my head I say, I'm getting 1 free because that's what the shipping would be if I was to do it from home.
Yeah. Well, I did the same, right? So I saw on the Wednesday, I walked past and they had a really nice Chakotay pin that matches the Janeway one that I have. Well, kind of matches. And I was like, I want that. By the time I managed to get around to them again a couple of days later, they had completely sold out. They'd even sold the display one. And I was so sad.
This might give you an idea of just how overwhelmingly lovely everyone was. I think it was the Wednesday. I might be wrong. It could be the Wednesday or the Thursday. I think it was the Wednesday. We walked into the vendor's room.
It was Thursday.
It was Thursday, right? Turned, because we had to go to a meetup. No, that was Friday. Anyway, we had something. Right, walked in, turned right, and the vendor's room, big enough. I mean, it wasn't, you know, cathedral sized.
No.
And it took 2.5 hours because of the amount of people that stopped to say hello. And that is like the nicest thing I can say, because that's how many people came and said hello and made us feel special. And it was just so lovely. And as long as I didn't have to pee, I loved it.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing. Like, you know, if I was like, you know, I'm really sorry, I'd have to run to the toilet, but that's the only other time, you know.
I think the thing that shocks me as well is when people who we have been watching in Star Trek come up to us as fans of TrekCulture. So we were talking to a group of followers, and all of a sudden from behind me, I just have Elias Tufexis hugging me, and I was like, hello. So that was he was lovely as well. Another person we eventually got to meet in person. And then David Ajala as well is a TrekCulture follower. Yes. So you told me. Tell me your part.
Okay, so because mine is spread over a couple of days, right?
Right.
And Elias is the first name here. So I walked up to Elias. So Elias was sat beside David, right?
Right.
And I walked to Elias to say hello, because I had met Elias at obviously Elias is lovely. You know, he's cool. I'm afraid he's stuck with me. He's one of those just sorry Elias, but also not sorry. And I walked up to say hello, and he, lovely being that he is, turned around straight away and said, "Oh, you know, David, this is Sean, and you're Sean does TrekCulture, everything," and it was lovely. You know, he was, you know, he could have done, "Thanks very much for coming," you know, and that would have been totally fair, you know. And he was very lovely, and he said, "Look, I see you guys have been really busy, and you know, that's really cool, really impressive." And I'm just like, "Thank you." And then, you know, as this is happening, as I'm happy to see, queues start to form and everything, and then, you know, just very quickly, "Thank you very much, David. You're a gentleman. You know, love talking to the future." And you know, already as a young, you know, trying to cyber stalk him to see if that can happen. And then, you know, so I realized that afterwards, like, you know, oh Lord, I walked up to say hello to Elias. He introduced me to David, and I just completely turned away from him. So I caught Elias down on the last day, and I was like, "I am so sorry," and he just laughed at me, and he was right to do it. And he was just lovely. And then we walked up. This is actually as he was leaving the hotel. We walked and just had a chat together. That man is like one of the busiest men working at the moment. Yeah. I mean, he's acting, he's directing, he's managing, he's probably doing gymnastics of some kind. You know, he's just, so that's my version of the story.
So I think before the second part, but after the first part, we'd bumped into each other as well. Because that's the other thing, we actually didn't spend all of the time together. We actually barely saw each other the whole time. So you'd told me, "Oh, by the way, David is he knows what TrekCulture is. He's seen our channel." And I was like, "Well, that's cool." So I planned to make my way around to his table at some point and say hello. And as we were walking, we had somewhere to be, or we were walking around, and he walked past me. He was clearly on his way somewhere, because, you know, the handlers practically dragged them out of the room. And my mum was like, "Wait, isn't that him?" And I went, "Oh, yeah, it is." And we kind of clocked eyes, and he did a bit of a double take, because we kind of smiled at each other. And then I think he realised, and I just want to say, "Hi." And then he looked at me, and I went, "I hear you're a fan of TrekCulture." And then he kind of realised, and then came over, and I think he shook my hand, and he was really complimentary to the channel and our hard work. And the whole time I was like, "You're in Star Trek." But he was so lovely. But it was very brief, because he was literally on his way, I think, to do a panel or a photo op or something. But the fact that he did stop and come and say hello, like other times I walked past people. I walked past Garrett Wong at one point, and we clocked eyes and said hi to each other, but he was on his way, so it was kind of a hi and a bye, whereas he stopped, turned around, and came and spoke to me to make sure I was aware of the fact that he appreciates our work. And I was like, "Thank you very much."
No, I mean, it's and it will never not be weird. It will never ever not be weird that someone who makes these shows.
All I kept thinking afterwards was thinking about all the things I'd ever said about Discovery, and I was like, "Hang on, have I ever said anything awful? Do you hate me?"
So, I mean, I applaud your boldness when, you know, you looked Dan Hageman and Aaron Walkie in the eye and you went, "Prodigy is dreadful."
I could never. I could never do it.
Very quickly, as of recording, about an hour before we hit record, I saw Michelle Stokes posting that the plane is booked. So the second plane, the Renew Starter Prodigy plane is booked. It's happening.
15th of August.
Thank you very much. I was going to desperately go and look
It'll
at the date.
be midday in LA. Yeah. And then whatever that equates to where you are. And do you know what my favorite part about that is? My favorite part about that is that she said that they actually ended up raising more money than was needed for the plane. And so she is going to donate the remaining money to the Alzheimer's charity, which Kate Mulgrew is a fundraiser for. I don't know what the word is, but Kate's mum had Alzheimer's and she's a massive ambassador, that's the word, for this charity. And so Michelle is going to donate the remaining money in Kate's name.
I love Trekkies.
So do I. Actually, that's the thing that happened. So after our interview on the Monday, where I had told Kate of Michelle, then at her panel on the Saturday at the convention, she asked the entire audience at Vegas for Michelle Stokes by name. She asked if she was there, and I turned to my mum and I was like, I told her name.
So on the Saturday, I was part of the pre-judging panel for the cosplay competition. And I mean, I am blue in the face saying the creativity that was on show at this convention. I mean, we had someone was a Horgon, someone was a Nausicaan. We had a load of Klingon. Barbie is a personal favorite. She was fantastic.
The Pike was amazing.
Special shout out to as well the constructed to Anna and Miglimo. They were incredible.
There was a Zero and Michelle.
There was a Zero and Michelle. That was they were going to get because they were in the cosplay as the competition as well. And it was just for also special shout out to my fellow judges, Lisa Klink, Dr. Mohammed Noor, and Emily Coots. So it was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And of course, you're sitting there going like, I wish everyone could go through. And then you see that on TV and you're like, well, you're just saying that. And then you're like, well, I kind of wish everyone could go through. There was there was a lot of panels. Do you of the panels that you went to? I mean, if I was to be honest, I'd say I can probably guess what you went to. But what stood out to you the most and why?
I enjoyed the Prodigy panel. Just because I feel so close to that show. And there was one point where Aaron Walke said something. I think he said it to Nami Malimud about the music. And he pretty much verbatim said something I'd said in the Ups and Downs or something. And I was like, sent to you. And I was like, that was me. I said that. And you feel that kind of personal connection to that show in particular because of how lovely the showrunners are and the writers are. And we'd have that kind of connection with them. So that was really nice. Obviously, I did go to Kate Mulgrew and John Delancey's talk. What I love about that is it's just two friends chatting on stage, basically. The Next Generation one was pure chaos. You had Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, and Gates McFadden, and I think they thought there was going to be a moderator and none turned up, and so it was just the three of them. It was like just watching three friends forgetting completely there was an entire audience there, and it was utter chaos. So that was pretty enjoyable.
One of the panels that for me really, I'm going to try and explain it because I'm going to say that they're all important. This felt important, and it was Sonika Martin Green and David Ajala on the Sunday, and it was deeply moving. I'm not saying it was heavy. Look, I think sometimes when you say something's important, it's like, oh, was it? You're going to sit up and straighten up and we listen. It was very light, but it was very, 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 very important. And someone said at the very end when they were asking questions, they basically said, like, we know Discovery's come to an end. Please don't be strangers. Please come back. And I hope that I hope they took that on board. How much just the love that was there in the room. It's quite funny as well because they were like, hands up everyone who's seen the finale, and not every hand went up. So they were like, well, okay, right, we'll talk about it and try and keep it without spoilers, which I thought they really had well. But I need Sonika Martin Green to a person. There's not a bad word to say about her, and anytime she speaks, just commands a room, but not in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? Like she speaks, you listen, but also you feel better for having heard her, and David Ajay, our close personal friend David Ajay.
Yeah, you know.
I was moderated by Tamia from the Sci-Fi Sisters as well. Which is brilliant. On the spot, favorite moment of the con.
I can do better. I can show you.
Oh,
Come, of course.
Ta-da.
Come on. I don't know if this is going to be audio only or a video, but just in case it's audio only, of course I am holding the photo of myself and Kate Mulgrew.
of course. And I think you couldn't say fairer than that.
No. I mean, the thing is, it's when you have a photo op like that, I will say I am very particular about when I will do a photo op and when I won't. Just because you don't want to fool yourself into thinking that you're suddenly going to make friends with someone, because it is so fast paced. And I mean, the literal, you walk over, you turn it, you smile, you take the photo, and you are out of there. So you don't really get a chance to have a conversation as such. Obviously, we were very fortunate that we had done the interview that same week, so I felt like I had my moment to kind of chat, if you like. But what I will say is funny, I mean, we were talking about the handlers and stuff, but Kate was talking to me, and the handler was basically ushering me away, and I was like, hang on a minute, Kate is talking. Like, I'm not holding up the line here. Kate's talking to me. Like, but yeah, of course, that was a very special moment.
100. And I mean, you could see you were glowing after that. I mean, it was that was just lovely to see. One of the highlights for me is hearing the Inner Light played on stage, conducted by the composer.
That was actually really lovely. I mean, when they say gala, you're like, I don't really know what I'm getting myself into, but both me and you are big suckers for score and the music, and that was basically an hour and a half of just listening to a live orchestra play all the best music.
Yep, that was my partner / handler, as I've joked, sitting beside me. You know, as soon, I mean, I've listened to that suite of music many times, but it hits different. And also, in yourself when you're in a crowd of people and it's hitting everyone different. I mean, just opening note and the waterworks started. And it was funny because I knew without looking around me I wasn't alone, and I wasn't. There was, you know.
It was beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful. So that was
all of it, though. They played the Deep Space Nine theme, which was really great hearing live, and the Voyager theme heard live was really good as well. And they also played music from the Kelvin films as well, which was really good. Just I just love hearing orchestras play score. That was really, really wonderful. And I did go to the Rat Pack on the Sunday evening as well, which was very good. Ethan Phillips wasn't there, so Lunar Visitor filled in for him, and it was pure chaos at moments. Like, people were literally like, I don't know where we're at, what we're doing, but I just thought that the genius of some of the songs that they wrote. I think the highlight is a Borg named Hugh, you know, playing a boy named Sue, and it was brilliant.
Overall, Trek to Vegas 2024, what do you think?
It was amazing. It was overwhelming at times, but also a really, really enjoyable 4-5 week, basically. Once you add in all the days of travel and non-convention days, it was really great, and everyone was very respectful. I think there was only one time that someone ran up to me to take a photo and kind of, rather than have a conversation, basically just shoved their phone in my face and took a selfie and kind of left. But that was only one instance. Other than that, everyone was very respectful and very friendly and kind.
Yeah, and also thank you everyone who came to the meet. That was the meetup was. I was just like, right, we'll meet here at a certain time at a certain place and see what happens. And lots of people showed up, and it was lovely. And like you say, I mean, yeah, pretty much to a person, everyone was respectful, because I think as well, a lot of people would be in the same boat. Like, you know, you could be the best person when it comes to crowds ever. There was a lot of crowds, you know, and I think generally people were very cognizant of that, and people, you know, and of course, then there's the people in any crowd ever who will just stop walking.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for watching this abbreviated version of this podcast. Now, if you go to our audio platforms, you will get the full version of this podcast with this guest. So we really, really appreciate you subscribing to that, and you're just awesome and wonderful. Thank you so much.